Hello, and this is Notary Life with Kimmi. So today I thought I would come to you with some notary confessions, okay? Everyone likes a good confession. So today I'm going to tell you some of the things that I've done as a notary, a few errors that I've made, and hopefully you can learn from them, okay? So let's get right into it. The first confession I'm making is one of my very first general notary assignments that I had here for my personal business. It was a father and a daughter, and the document required both dad and the daughter to sign, and you had to recognize that you had saw both signatures. So I notarized and put a stamp next to the daughter's name, but I did not put a stamp next to the father's name. So again, I'm in the state of Georgia, so when she went to the DMV, they rejected that. She called me. She was like, "Hey, you messed up my paper. I can't get my stuff." So fortunately, I had another notary that was on that side of town where she was able to go and stamp the father's side and ID him for me. So a couple lessons in that is always double check if you have more than one signer that you have the proper verbiage on the document. Like for example, Mr. Smith and Mrs. Smith, or Mr. John Smith and Mrs. Jane Smith. In that line where it says whoever you were notarized, and make sure both names are there. Or either if your document requires it, make sure you have two stamps, one by each name, okay? So you have a stamp by Mrs. Smith's name and you have a stamp by Mr. Smith's name. Another lesson from that is you can make sure you have a group of notaries. Everyone is not your competition. I'm going to do another video on that. But they're not your competition. In that case, this person was 30 minutes from me. So for me to go there to do one stamp, it was my error. I was going to fix it. I own that. But fortunately, like I said, I had a group and I had someone else that I can call and say, "Hey, can you go and fix the other part of that for me?" So that's another lesson there, to have someone else that has your back, okay? Confession number 2 is always check to see if your stamp is in the right position. I stamped the document upside down, so it was a will signing, and I looked at it. Everything is all pretty, my witnesses, I put a gold seal on it, and I looked and I stamped it. I said, "Oh my God, it's upside down." So he was super nice, my signer, and I was like, "Hey, would you like me to redo it?" He was like, "No, they could just flip the page." So lesson learned, always check and make sure if your stamp is upside down or not, okay? I look at it and see my name and I stamp. I've seen other people put like a little piece of tape the correct direction it should be. So that's just another little tip there. Always check your stamp. Number 3, my confession, is I was doing a loan signing and the signer was rushing me, first of all, because the documents were late. She had to print them herself because of the way the situation went, which was good for me. I didn't have to print. But it was a copy of a copy of a copy. And at that point, they had circles that needed to be done. It was different circles that needed to be initialed. And they were so faint, I just didn't see them. I just really didn't see them. And the signer was rushing me. Like I said, it was already late in the day and everything, and those circles were just so faint because it was a copy of a copy. I just didn't see it. So the signing agency called me and said, "Hey Kim, you missed such and such." And I was like, "I missed something?" Sure enough, when she told me what the error was, I saw the circles, but I didn't know what the circles were. I didn't know. I just didn't know. So just always double check each page and make sure if it's anything that looks kind of weird, put a second, look at it twice. So that was another lesson there. And another lesson there also is don't let the signer rush you. I mean, that's your document. You're responsible for making sure it's correct. If they have to wait a few more minutes, it wasn't my fault that it was late. It wasn't her fault that it was late. But we need to make sure before we submit our work back to the hiring company that it is correct, okay? So my last confession, which is a doozy, and I have to show you something. So at first glance, what color is this ink pen? Blue. So my last thing that I did that was a doozy, I think my craziest of them all, I did a loan signing package. It had 125, counted 125 sheets. So we get to the whole end of the transaction. My husband glances over at me like, And I said, "What?" And I'm looking at the signer. He's looking at me. I'm looking at my husband. He was like, "What color ink was that supposed to be?" I said, "Oh my God, blue." So this is a blue ink pen. My signer also had a blue ink pen. So I assumed, never assume, what do they say about that? That the ink also was blue. The ink was black. So we had to re-sign the whole package. And fortunately, we always print 2 copies, right? Unless instructed otherwise. We used the signer's copy to redo everything. And he was so nice about it. He was so nice about it. But the point is, always check your ink color. Now, I actually bought my own blue pens. And I actually usually just pass them out at the signing table. I don't want no mistakes, because that took a whole nother 45 minutes. So just always check your ink color. Again, this is blue. Learn from me. These have been my confessions. So, do you have any confessions you like to make? Sometimes as notice we don't always have anyone we could, chit chat with or share what's going on in our journey or, different stuff. So if you have a confession you like to make, let me know. You can just send it to me. Look for me on Instagram, shoot me an email, something private, whatever. Or if it's not too bad, just drop it in the comments and I'll create another video with some of the top errors out there and we can help our fellow notaries, okay? So this has been Notary Life with Kimmi. As always, it's my pleasure to bring you information that can help you in your notary journey and help you to be successful. Look, share, heart it, whatever, subscribe. And again, thank you for keeping it real with me. And this is Kimmi. Bye.